Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our Wednesday Live. Thank you so much for being here. We are broadcasting across the known universe. Yeah, I think so. In fact, actually, we're even broadcasting onto YouTube. Shh, don't tell them. I can see you all there over there on the YouTubes. You YouTube hanger outers. Hello, Leslie, Kim, Tommy, John, Chris. Hi, Lee. Hi, Republican Rocker. Great to see all you guys. Now, just a quick shout out for those on the YouTubes. I was banned from YouTube for a week for daring to question the integrity of the 2020 US presidential election, and for which, I'm so sorry, YouTube. I'm so really sorry. Hi, Brian. Good to see you. Hi, Matt, all the way over in New Zealand. FYI, Matt, just this is for you. Hoping to bring on a special New Zealand guest in a couple of weeks so we can discuss all the tyranny that went on over in your neck of the woods. Thank you, Leslie. Don't tell them. Don't say a word. Hi, John Spence. Hi, Melissa. I fly like a legal Gorgonite. All you guys. Vicky, good to see you. Thank you all for tuning in as we set the world to right on a Wednesday evening. So that just explains that why there was a break for a week in YouTube. They wouldn't let me back on. Isn't that lovely of them? So lovely. Matt's moved across from YouTube. YouTube is cancer. I keep telling you guys, it really is. But Chris Davey says, the Burnley girl, you mean Charlotte? Charlotte was good on Monday. I will tell Charlotte that, Chris. Charlotte's a great lady. So pleased to have met her at the event I was at. So, yes, she'll be back as well, Chris, and I've had several conversations with her. Leslie wants to know, will my special guest be Jacinda? Leslie, you'll have to wait to see. You will have to wait to see. Couldn't possibly comment on something like this. Hi, Bob, all the way from West Virginia. I think that's almost heaven, isn't it? Almost Heaven, West Virginia. Can anyone finish the song? Yes. Hello there, Billy Piper. Good to see you as well. Thanks for being here. There's been so much news happening that trying to sort of talk about the things that sort of top of the news cycle versus the things that I plan to talk about. Hi, Blitzer, by the way, is two different things. But Chris Davies speculates, is the special guest Marcus Rashford? Again, Chris, I can't possibly comment on these things, who special guest will be. But, Charlotte, the Baroness of Burnley. Hey, Charlotte, I hope you heard, who was it said? Chris Davies is a big fan of yours. He said, that Burnley girl was good on Monday. There you go. Charlotte, you are a star already here on the stream. But, and thanks so much. And just like that, Charlotte bounces back. And Chris is a bastard. There we go. That's it. Someone said, Republican Rocker says, never fly with John Denver. I gotta say, I like John Denver. I like that kind of, Annie song and some of that stuff that he did back in the 70s. I'm so old. I remember that and liked it. Donny Girl, great to see you. I'm really pleased to see actually a couple of folks here. Donny Girl, who I haven't seen for a wee while, and also Leslie, which I hadn't seen for a wee while. And because we're all a big community, when I don't see you, we actually do miss you. So just to let you know. George Orwell follows the line. Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. If only I had a guitar, we could actually sing the rest of it. Hi, Cyber City. Good to see you as well. And thanks everyone for being with us. So hey, listen, let's kick off. Chris Davies is horrified the prospect of me leading a chorus of "Take Me Home, Country Roads." It's actually very easy to learn the guitar, Chris Davies. It's one of those simple songs. Donny Girl, good to see you. And Leslie, again, Charlotte, you got another fan with Leslie. So actually what we love is, we love straight talking people on my channel. We're all about trying to have honest conversations with a bit of humor as well, I suppose. And it really works. Donny Girl says, did he die in an airplane crash? Yes, he did. He did indeed. Pretty horrible death, actually, to be fair, to John Denver. But that's just the way it kind of goes, I guess. Right, let's start off with some. Oh, Canadian mom, thank you so much for your kind words as well. Thank you for being here. So, okay, we got everybody in the house, I think. So, and of course, we have Jed in the house as well. He's sitting there. I'm going to bring him on in a second. So, listen, we hadn't planned to talk about this, but I thought I would lead the program tonight with the news that jihadi bride Shamima Begum, yes, our Shamima, is pretty much like the Jules Rimet trophy. She ain't coming home. And those of you football fans will maybe get that reference. So yeah, so this, yes, I can see Jed's happy about this one. The appeals court today in London made its determination that, having considered the appeal, she was going to have to stay in whatever hole she is buried in over in Syria. So I'm absolutely really pleased about that. And it's good that Shamima Begum. Yeah, that's actually bacon. That's oh yeah, Donegal's just saying about that volcano. It's always spewing. Tute Pele needs to let off some steam once in a while. Well, Donegal, we were all worried. We were all thinking about you. And yes, as Jed points out, we were indeed concerned. We're concerned for everybody in this community. Hi, Nikki, by the way. Hi, Rustin. Rustin comes in with my Shamima. Oh, my Shamima. Yeah, poor old Shamima. So anyway, I mean, I actually, here's a thought. Do you think that this, when she left the UK, just for American friends, and just to give you a quick synopsis. So this, she left the UK age 15 in 2015 to join Islamic State. Now that's when Islamic State were going about the business of chopping people's heads off, burning them alive, all of that. That kind of motivated her to go off and become a bride, which she did. She married one of these jihadi, had attempts to have 3 children. All the 3 children died. She then it sort of went wrong because obviously Islamic State then lost ground. And she wanted to get home. I could go into the origins of Islamic State. For those of you on the stream who are conspiracy theorists, there is a view about Islamic State, and it ain't what you necessarily think it is. But it suckered in people like Shamima Begum. Oh, yes, I know, Rustin. They're trying to say, oh, she was human trafficked. She was human trafficked. Thanks, Bob, by the way. Thank you for sharing this in your Telegram. Bob obviously says she's too dumb to even get on a boat from France. Well, I agree with you. That she'd be straight in then, wouldn't she? But anyway, folks, so here's the story. So she went over there, it all went wrong, and then she decided, I want home. And there's been this, I think, several legal attempts to get her back to the UK. She's been stripped of her British citizenship. Good. And she's stuck over there. Now, Nikki, you have over on the Getters, you've actually anticipated my next point. Nikki says, did you see that Field Marshal Hartley Brewer was on saying that she was our problem? So yes, Nikki, I did see that. And I actually went back to Julia on the Twatters. I went back to Julia to say, well, hang on a second. Why should we, Jed, I'm going to bring you in now in a sec. Okay, here's my objection, Nikki, to what Hartley Brewer was on about. I don't want her to come back here. I don't want her to be put in prison. I'm not interested in that because that's going to cost us taxpayers money. I want her to stay and rot in hell in Syria or wherever she is. Now, I think she might get back eventually, by the way, but that notwithstanding, eventually. But this is a good decision. So, Jed, let's bring you into the stream and welcome to the madness. And what was your thoughts on the news that the Shamima Begum appeal had been turned down?
To be honest, the fact that it got to, in fact, just before I do that, before I answer your question, first of all, I'm going to say hello to my followers. I do have followers over on the Getters, over on the YouTube tubes, so Canadian Mom and Donegal, just to mention 2. I won't go too deep into it. But no, David, I hadn't followed it until the announcement this morning. And firstly, it's cost us a fortune, but it's cost us a fortune once. Yeah, that's it. It's done. It's dusted. She's not British, so I don't know why it's cost us that sort of money. Probably she was entitled to legal aid. I don't know how a non-British citizen is entitled to legal aid. But then again, we have 40,000 migrants who are entitled to legal aid, and I bet you if I wanted it, I couldn't get a penny. But that's beside the point. I'm absolutely over the moon that it's been rejected, wholeheartedly rejected. And I couldn't see any judge overturning the decision to ban her from the United Kingdom because of security. She is a security risk to the nation. And if she'd come back, it wouldn't have been 5 million, as I think Oblivion, well, I can never say his name, has said. It would have been 5 million a year or more per year to bang her up. And then it would have been a constant appeal to get a sentence reduced. And it would have been every year there would have been a new appeal to get her out. And then when she got out, they'd have to give her a new identity, which would cost us money, new house, new job. In fact, she couldn't have a job, so we'd fund her for the rest of her life off the tax dime. And I'm so chuffed. If she died over there today, it wouldn't be a day too soon.
Yeah, well, okay, Jed, I think a lot of people were in agreement. A warm welcome, by the way, to the Reverend Simon Sideways. Hi, Simon. Great to see you here in the stream, and hope to have you in the studio with us very soon as well. So thank you for being here. Yeah, Jed, I agree with all of that. I mean, quite honestly, I don't want her coming back, but I see a few people weighing in on the subject of Julia Hartley-Brewer. So thanks, everybody. The old Baz says Julia Hartley-Brewer has become the Hillary Jones of daytime radio.
Well, I couldn't believe that, though, David. I'm sorry to jump in. I couldn't believe when I saw her tweet today. Again, I've been busy with a couple of other things today. But when I saw her tweet, I was inflamed. And actually, I was going to nudge you about it, over on Signal or repost it to you. And I thought, no, you would have clocked this the second it Twitter. And I really couldn't. I was outraged, absolutely outraged that she said she was our problem. No, the second she got on that plane to go and fight for ISIS, she became ISIS's problem, not ours. And then, like I said, if she died today, it wouldn't be a day too soon.
Well, the thing is, if you go and join a terrorist group of head choppers, and I mean, Jed, as you know, I did put out a little kind of live podcast thing this morning on this, and one of the things, and I'm sure folks, a lot of you will understand this. One of the things that Shamima Begum said from her perch in Syria was that whenever jihadi carried out the atrocious bombing of the Manchester Arena at the pop concert, which resulted in the death of, I think dozens of kids and mums and dads back in, I think it was 2017, 2018. I remember it so vividly, Jed. And what Shamima Begum said was she thought that was justified killing innocent kids at a pop concert. Do you know what I mean? That infuriates me. And so, for Julia Hartley-Brewer to turn around and say, well, she's our problem. We need to bring her back here and make sure we have the right laws so we can put her away. No, Julia, Jed, you're right. She's not British. She's not our problem. She's not coming back here. End of story. And that's
no, she's not. I mean, this is the one you put out today. Begum appeal rejected. So you want to find it? It's on David's Twitter. Yeah, absolutely. The other thing is she's entitled to a defense. Okay, so you could argue she's entitled to a defense. Yes, she is, absolutely. But what she's not entitled to, David, is taxpayers' money for that defense. And another thing she's not entitled to is the state-funded broadcaster putting out 10 podcasts with entitled I'm Not a Monster, when clearly and absolutely, without shadow of a doubt, she is a monster. And monsters must be demolished and wiped from the face of the earth. She's evil, because I tell you why she's evil. Because it's not just that she's gone and murdered people. But she's gonna murder people without a single bit of remorse, and still now, she thinks it's right.
Well, I mean, Jed, I think we have to be careful. I'm not sure if she personally murdered anyone or not, but she belonged to an organization, a terrorist group, which delighted in the massacre.
David. If I in the military, as I served, if my unit or the British Army killed somebody in Iraq, we all killed them because we were all part of the same fighting machine.
Yeah,
she was part of a fighting machine.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
But Jed, not just any machine, an atrocious, monstrous organization, Islamic State, absolutely appalling. You know, there's no doubt about that. I see Chris Davey says, Professor, I have to read it out, Chris. Professor, Doctor, Brigadier. We're adding to her title every week, aren't we? When we talk about this woman, Hartley Brewer was insufferable this morning. Even I turned it off. Exactly, Chris. I mean, whenever she's hot for war, isn't she? Oh, Julia's so hot. Oh.
She is, but the thing is, when my last, I'm currently between, how should I say, currently between contracts, and I haven't listened to talk radio since I finished work. You know how long that has been, David. Yeah. However, I am up. I'm here for hire everybody. I do weddings, bar mitzvahs, and funerals. I could be a compere for anything. But yeah, I haven't watched it because I can't. Because I just think I walked in the living room. I think it was today, maybe yesterday, and the wife was flicking through the GB News and Talk TV. And she had Talk TV on, and they had Ian Collins on. Yeah.
Oh God!
And Ian Collins was talking about the incident up in Liverpool, and instantly started his segment with, "These are racist, bigoted, knuckle dragging."
No, they're not.
That was it. I was finished. And actually, the fact that I haven't listened to vaccine radio now for 2-3 months, my world is much better.
Yeah, this is the point that I was talking to Charlotte about on Monday night, Jed. If you can turn off basically the entire mainstream, or at least for most of the time, your life will be better. Chris Davey says, Ian Collins, the ex-LBC shill. Leslie, I need to say this. Leslie has noted this extremely fashionable mug, which is available. I'm pleased to inform you. If you go to davidvance.net up here in the top right-hand corner.
It's running across the bottom of the screen, David. Get over to the shop. Yeah, not only do you get a nice product, but you also help us out.
You help
to
keep
the
wins in this one going. Yeah, but actually, Chris Davies, Ian Collins interviewed me several times back in the day before LBC banned me. And, these people, they're all shills, and that's just the way it is. Several good comments I wanted to get in, Jed. I see just on the Begum thing, we're going to move off it very quickly, but Old Baz says it's costing the UK 5 million up until now. John Hillhouse over on the Getters, Jed, reinforces your point. He says it doesn't matter if you're a cook or a sniper, you are culpable. John Hillhouse, yes.
Well, absolutely,
Yeah. And I see our friend Adrian says, was she not some form of enforcer for them? Yes, Adrian, she was. So this vile creature should not ever be allowed back into the United Kingdom. And I completely reject the Julia Hartley Brewer argument. I noticed she didn't respond to my tweet. What's wrong, Julia? Cat got your tongue? And this is the problem with the mainstream. They virtue signal, and when you pick them up on it, then they run away. They have the vapors. So anyway, there you go. That is a bit of good news. We have so much bad news, Jed, we have to talk about that. It's kind of cheery.
I think it's so much clown world news, to be honest, David. I sat here today, and I did complain, and I haven't mentioned this to you. I was complaining. I was thinking to myself, I'm lost for words tonight. It's unusual for me, I know. But I was thinking, should I start a Jed's what grinds my gears, a 2-minute, 3-minute rant per day. And I thought I'd ask tonight what people thought, whether I should do that, maybe stick it out. If you're happy with it, David, using your YouTube or using your platform to some degree. And I just wonder what people would think if they would accept a 2 or 3 minute rant per day.
Okay, so everybody, just heads up. So Jed's saying if he produced a little sort of Jed says type thing.
Yeah. 2-minute rant.
Would you be interested in? I'm sure they would actually. So whilst you're responding to that, let me bring it on then to the next. Nikki says you got loads of likes, David. I did. I saw that. Julia didn't like it, Nikki, but lots of people did like me actually having it. They do like it when somebody bites back. Nikki says vaccine radio is worst. It pretends to be center. It absolutely, it is worse. It's appalling. And I think somebody else mentioned the fact, who was it said it? Someone said that, what do you call it? Yeah, Anthony Stenhouse. Hi, Anthony, by the way, welcome to the stream. Anthony says, Tobias Elwood fan too. Oh, yes, Tobias.
Oh, yeah, she loved him, didn't she? I've been told she's been spied on as a journalist. She's then invited the chief spy on.
Yeah, I honestly did.
It's like saying, I'll get you, Mr. Bond, and then interviewing Mr. Bond.
Yeah, it's unbelievable hypocrisy. Cyber City, I'm sorry to hear that you're still banned from the Twatters. But Twitter's not 100% right yet. I do understand that. Adrian,
I'm getting some people saying, they wouldn't mind a rant. They said, but I do my rants on here. I'm thinking more of perhaps for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. Adrian says, Jed, is that not a standard feature of the shows anyway? Adrian, you're banned for life. Right.
I only get a chance to do it twice a week, and that's Wednesdays and Thursdays. And Thursdays are preoccupied as well in the background, keeping things running.
So listen, let's shift it on a bit. So listen, so jihadi brides not allowed back into the UK. Good. Now we need to move north of the border to Scotland. And this is where we miss our good friend from a Thursday stream, Grantonio, because obviously we had the big sensational news last week when Nicola Sturgeon, I'll not even say what I think. Nicola Sturgeon resigned as First Minister and leader of the SNP, creating this kind of leadership contest, Jed. And so we've seen all the runners and riders kind of lining up. Sorry, I shouldn't look at your comments, but I do. Let's just
you can't help it, can you?
Breaking news. God Empress Hartley Brewer to divorce her husband in order to remarry herself. It's like you don't take Julia seriously. I'm going to report you all to Julia Hartley Brewer, and she's going to be around. So anyway, back to Scotland. So Sturgeon's gone, and now they're going to have a race to see who is going to succeed her. And it's coming down to 2 or 3, really maybe 2 people, 3 people, maybe max, I think. And Jed, I put a podcast out this morning on this leadership race because one of the candidates who's pretty much, highly thought of and potentially someone who could indeed become the next leader, she's got a problem. And her problem is that she's a Christian. And worse than that, she's a member of, I think it's the Free Church of Scotland. And she has, yes, Billy Piper, Kate, what's her face is right. I can't remember her second name, Billy. Someone tell me her second name. Anyway, this lady.
Ford,
yes, I think it is, yeah. But the point about it is, regardless of her name, she's Christian and she's being excoriated in the media because, get this, she doesn't agree with there's the podcast if you want to go and listen to it, folks. But she doesn't agree with gay marriage. And she said she, at the time she would have voted against it, but now she accepts it for what it is. So that's that. She doesn't agree with sex before marriage, which again is a kind of traditional Christian view. Don't expect everyone to agree with that for 1 second, but I'm just saying. So Jed, she holds kind of so. And the other thing is, she thinks that the person who's in the or who was put into the women's prison, who called themselves Isla Bryson, who, as you know, was a bloke twice convicted of rape, or convicted of 2 rapes. She said he was a man. So she is absolutely being excoriated and destroyed for what I would consider as expressing fairly sort of just run-of-the-mill Christian views. And she's not forcing any of those views in anyone else. But that's been the problem. At the same time, Jed's collapsed at the prospect of this. However, at the same point, and Chris Davies makes my point for me, the other sort of prominent runner for this one is Humza Yosef, who me and I have had words on Twitter, Humza and myself. Now, again, Humza is Muslim. He's a Muslim man. So, okay, he's allowed to have his views. I have no issues with that there at all, Chris. Muslim people having their values and their faith, and Christian people having their faith, and people having no faith. All of that I have no issues with. People make a call. I mean, I align myself with the Christian point of view. I have to say I do. But it's not for me to enforce that on anyone else. But it's the fact that the media have gone after her because she's a Christian. And no one said to Humza Yosef, tell us some more about Islam's problematical views on, say, women, and say marriage, and say homosexuality. You know, is it a sin, for example? I mean, you know, if you're going to go after one, Jed, don't you think it's reasonable?
No, stop, David, because you know it doesn't work like that. Because you know, if we look at the stack, we know, first of all, white. Sorry, talking Scotland now, aren't we? White, male, Christian. There you go. That's all you need to say. They are the demons, okay, that you have to go for. And you're absolutely right. If she had been a Muslim and said what she said, you would have not heard anything. You would have heard the tumbleweed. Yeah, that is it. Whistling in the wind. You would never have heard anything about it. The fact is, we have to destroy Christian values throughout the West, because Christian values are what the West has been built on. We can destroy them. We can destroy sex, because it doesn't matter if you're man, woman, whatever. You can be whatever you want. Well, I tell you what, I want to be white. I want to be male. That's how I was born. I can't change that. There are 2 sexes. That is it.
Well, those are just matters of
one religion under God. And I'm not even a Christian, really.
Well, the thing about it is, Scotland, Jed, going back over the centuries, is, you know, it is quite a proper Christian sort of society. It really is. And anyone, I mean, I'm not sure if we've got any Scots on the streams here, but any of you Scots that, you know, I mean, Scotland is actually quite like Northern Ireland, and so I really can relate to it. And they've got their problems there as well over religion, and I understand that too. But the point of it is that, you know, it's incredible that, Jed, to your point about the West being completely, you know, consumed from within, the Scotland, I mean,
David, to be honest, I want Yusuf, whatever he's called, to get in. Because I think that will be the downfall of the SNP. The SNP is cancer for Scotland.
He absolutely will. The thing about Humza Yosef is when he was Justice Minister, I think, now I could be wrong, but I think he was convicted for driving a car without insurance. That was a bit awkward. And then, I don't know if anyone's seen, there's a wonderful video clip of him using one of these, Jed, you know what do you call these sort of scooter things that they wheel?
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one there, yeah.
And he falls off it. Yeah. So actually, I think that the political calculation around this that Labour's making in particular, and this is actually where it becomes really quite interesting. Labour reckons that if Humza Yosef becomes leader of the SNP, that's going to cause alienation. That's going to mean that Labour can pick up more seats. And
well, you see, I don't think Labour would, because I think Labour sits on the same side of the fence on this topic. And that's the problem.
You're right, actually. But
you know, even the Tories are sat on the fence on this topic. You know, we haven't got a political party, whether it's in Scotland or in England, that is on the side of there are two genders. We haven't got a single party. All of them are either on the fence. So there are some in the party that say, oh, there's only two. There's some in the party that say, no, you can be whatever you want. But the vast majority of all the other parties are fully over the fence saying, no, you can be anything. And if you don't agree with what they say, we'll send you to prison. That's what he'll do if he gets in Scotland. And then that will be his downfall. It was Sturgeon's downfall. She had a PR machine like there was nobody else. She was the worst politician in the world, but the best PR. Yeah. He hasn't got the best PR, and he's even worse than she is. So he won't last long.
Well, a couple of comments I want to read out. Canadian Mum says they're putting books in young kids' libraries in school all about gay, trans sex for 4 to 5 year olds. Yep, Canadian Mum, I've seen that. Absolutely abhorrent. And then, there's so many just comments coming in here.
There is, yeah. It's difficult to keep up.
I'm trying to keep up, folks, and I don't want to. But yeah, but your point about it is that when you see the way Scotland's going, someone mentioned 71 genders. Actually, according to Facebook, which we're broadcasting to, there's 72, I think. Or then someone corrected me and said, no, it's more like 110. So I thought
it was 74 on Facebook. See, this is it. We're even having a debate on how many genders there are.
Yeah.
And then we're even telling doctors, don't assume. This is science. This is biology. And doctors are being told by the NHS not to assume somebody's gender. So when he says, Jed, put them in my hand and cough, I think he's assumed that I'm a man.
You might not be.
Because otherwise I wouldn't be pouring two conkers in his hand, would I? Yeah. He wouldn't even be doing that test.
But this shows, Jed, how out of date you are, because everybody knows that women can have all the sphericals in the world, because that's the new world that we live in. And of course, in the real world, there are only two genders. In the real world, what we're talking about is mental illness, basically. Republican.
That's it. With the guy, because I'll mention it now, the Transbaby guy.
Well, we'll talk with him. Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah.
That's a mental disorder. That's somebody who's gone, I've got a mental disorder. And instead of going, oh, that person needs help, they've gone, yeah, you are. That's the problem. There are people screaming out now going, when they're a man and they're saying they're a woman, when they're a woman, they're saying they're a man, clearly with mental health issues, and the world is just agreeing with them instead of going, right, come here, sunshine, you need some help. You need some guidance. You need somebody to talk to you because you are a man. You're not a woman, and vice versa.
No. Just so Jed, let's go into this, the trans baby thing. And again, I did put a podcast out on this one. So let's listen to this, folks, especially your American folks who may not be fully aware of the story. So again, this story concerns the fact that there was a man who actually was convicted of I think dangerous driving. He went into prison, I think because of that. He then strangled to death his cellmate in prison, so therefore he was a murderer. He then decided that he was going to transition to be a woman, so he's in a woman's prison. And then this is the bit that Jed referenced, folks, and listen to this, get this bit. He now identifies as a baby, and because he's a baby, he says he cannot possibly be moved. Here we go, trans baby. He cannot be transferred back to the men's prison because he wouldn't be safe. John Hillhouse says this is a ridiculous story. John Hillhouse, you are right, but it's actually happening. And where is it happening, Jed? Which country is it happening in?
Scotland.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's right. Canadian Mum says she saw it. They put him in a female prison. Yeah, but then Canadian Mum, he identifies as a baby. So I wanted to know on that basis, should he be in a kindergarten then? If he should be in
a creche. Yeah.
Afresh. Could have been
Yeah.
a breast.
In fact, who cleans his nappies for him? If he wants to be a baby, if you remember, way back, David, when Bobby Sands was in prison, and he went on his dirty protest, did anybody go in and clean his cell for him?
No.
When he shat up all over the walls? No. He was left in his own shit, like he should be, as a terrorist. Yeah. And he was fed his food, and when he spat it out and threw it out, he didn't get any more till the following day. Somebody like him, if he wants to say he's a baby, that's fine. He spends all day in his cot, and when he shits himself, then there's nobody there to clean him up. He has his food pureed for him, or it's a bottle. That is it. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He gets put in a mental ward.
Listen, I understand where you're going. However, Canadian Mum sums it up. And Nikki says it as well. This is nuts. It's absolute insanity. We are indulging the mentally ill. And not only that, are they mentally ill, Jed? Or are they just trying to exploit the system?
Well, I think he's trying to exploit the system, to be honest. Yeah. I think he's heard the one about the previous person. Yeah, the double rapist.
Oh, Isla Bryson, the so-called Isla
Bryson. Yeah, no, he's not Isla Bryson. What's his first name? His
first name. Adam, somebody or another.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't, because by using that name, you're agreeing to
which I don't. Yeah, I agree. I accept 100%. Yeah. But the thing is, even like I noticed the Daily Mail covered this story about this person who identifies as a baby, and they used the language she. She now identifies as, and I was trying to find out, well, in what way did this person transit from being male to female? And I don't believe that there's any evidence that they did anything other than just determine, right, I'm now female, treat me as a woman. Maybe they changed their appearance. I don't know that. But this is the first time I've heard of one of them claim to have gone from adult male to adult female to baby. But I think it's manipulation of the system, Jed. I think it is.
It's clear manipulation. All these, the second people, or when they're in prison, or when they've been convicted and they're off to prison, suddenly become trans. You know what it's about. Oh, they're in prison. They go, oh no, now I'm trans. It's to get a lighter sentence because, and this is wrong, absolutely fundamentally wrong. But the facts are, a woman's prison is an easier time than a man's prison. And I think it's because in a woman's prison, you don't get Mr. Big, so you don't have to worry about bending down and picking up the soap. But I've watched Cell Block H, and there is a bee, and she ruled that prison with an iron fist, and I hope there's a bee in every prison.
Well, I see. Just reading the comments coming in here. I guess she, in quotation marks, got a permission from head prefect Hardy Brewer to transition to a woman. But of course, nobody can transition from any gender because we're all born with male or female chromosomes. Or DNA stays fixed. Doesn't matter if we put lipstick on and a wig and dress up in other gender clothes. We are in fact biologically intact for what they are. Some people have operations. I get that, and I understand that. And as I say, just on a serious note, I do understand that some people may have gender dysphoria, and those people, Jed, should be given help.
Yes, not agreed with,
but not indulged. Not indulged. Do not indulge them. Do not say, I'll go along with your fantasy. No, that's where we've gone wrong. And Jed, see, by going along with their fantasies, things are getting worse. And can I just say to all the women on the stream here that you ladies, women in prison, women in bathrooms, you are being made more vulnerable, more exposed to these individuals because of the indulgence, Jed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we have the left that have screamed for decades about women's rights and women's safe spaces and etc. And they've campaigned until they're blue, till their feet bled. And now they're quite willing to throw those very same women on the fire. And when you question them about it, they go, oh, no, we're not saying, but you are. If you agree a man can become a woman, then that man must have access to the same space
That's
a
right.
woman
That's
has.
right.
And
Yeah.
that is where Nicola Sturgeon fell down. She couldn't get around the fact that that Bryson guy said he was a man, says he was a woman, and she went, well, he's got to go to a woman's prison because he's a woman, but he can't go to a woman's prison because he raped women, so he's got to go to a man. And I think the killer question from that interview was, is there any way a woman who was born a woman would go to a man's prison? And she went, I can't see any reason for that.
That's right.
That was the killer one, not the tongue twister of her saying, well, but it depends, and we have to do a risk assessment. The killer question was, if a woman is born a woman, is there any reason or any scenario where she would then be put in a man's prison? And she said no.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, a few comments coming in here. Chris Davies mentions Kelly J. Keane, who I think it's Posey Parker as well as her, aka Posey Parker. I'd love Kelly J to come on the stream.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
She's a great advocate for protecting women, basically. Although she's criticized for being a TERF. That's right. This term TERF interests me.
Again, it's the same sort of term when you talk about immigration. They say you're a racist. It's just a term to try and silence the argument.
Close it down. Yeah, it's exactly, Jed. One word, close it down. Let's not get into the issues. Let me just use the one word to censor. Again, someone saying here, just Cyber City says, I was told by women in North Somerset that they now have open door unisex toilets in a school. Someone's talking about in Spain, Jed, they've followed Nicola Sturgeon, and again from 16 you can gender reassign. Not only that, actually, can I just say in Spain, but if you thought that was bad, I think bestiality has just become so we'll not go there, but
all these things are sick to the core, are all left-wing driven. There ain't anything that is sick to the core that's right-wing driven. Why is that? Because the right believe in Christian values, be good to thy neighbour, two sexes, male and female, man and woman, and that is it. And in the States, and guns. Yeah. And that is, in fact, I've got a clip to show, and I'm going to change it because I want to show a longer clip actually at the end. Bit of a funny. So I'm going to get rid of the one I've got lined up and get another one.
Yeah.
Based on what I've just said.
Yeah. So just Splitzer says North Korea is saner than Scotland. You're probably right, to be honest. Hi, Johnny.
That's the indulgence of the West, though, isn't it? That's showing how the problem we've got is it's been, to be honest, it's been 80, 90 years since we've had real conflict. So the people have got soft. When your life is good, as it has been for decades now, in relative terms, when life is good, then morals and all that sort of thing go out the window. The second this crap hits the fan, and we get another World War III scenario, which I'm sure Julia Lebrew will be leading, then I think reality will dawn. We'll stop all this transgender crap and all the other stuff, and it will disappear almost overnight.
Well, talking about war, what is it good for? I'm sure we've all seen. Did anyone see Joe Biden falling off the plane again this evening? Biden was on his way back from Poland, boarding Air Force One. I've put it up in my stream if you go over and look at it on Twitter. And it's now kind of, I think, yet again, Joe Biden falling as he walks up the stairs. I mean, I can understand tripping, going down onto a plane jet, but I've never tripped actually going up or going down because you don't want to. But did you folks see him falling up the stairs again? Did you see it, Jed?
I didn't know, but I'm going to take your word on it, David, and I'm sure there'll be lots of memes going around very soon.
In fact, Jed, if you go over to my Twitter and if you go near the top of it, there's a brilliant meme, which is, you know, the one, folks, where there's all the folks are standing in a bar, right? They're all in a bar, and then there's a big screen, and the big screen, what they do is they superimpose these events on it, and the bar goes crazy. I think, Jed, you've got it there. Watch this one, folks. There you go, Mr. Joe Biden falling up the stairs.
One more time, full screen.
There it is. The most powerful man in the world. He can't walk up the stairs. Oh my goodness. Donny Girl says, and you're right, I reckon it is due to his dementia. It makes him shuffle. I mean, in a way, it is cruel.
It is, because that's one of the things. I mean, my dad's got Parkinson's, so it's in the same vein, and he has absolutely nightmare with his legs. Getting him in the car is not too bad. Getting him out of the car is hard work, because he can't make his legs do what he wants them to do. And then walking, he has to shuffle most of the time, because picking his feet up fully, he loses balance then. And that's what's happening here. Two different different diseases, but the same symptoms, if you see what I mean.
I see Blitzer comes up with a good pun here. By dementia, as he talks about. By dementia. Yeah, good one. I mean, it is a symptom. It's a bit sad. It's a bit embarrassing. But anyway, the point about it is Biden visited his bestie, Zelensky, as Chris Davies, and I hope you're waiting for this one, Kiev. And I think I'm one of the few people that insist on saying Kiev. But anyway, Kiev, he went to visit his bestie to give him 500 million, I think, Jed. He had a check for 500.
Well, I think he was making sure that, you know how it was 10% for the big guy. I think now with the cost of living, it's 15%.
Oh, yeah, inflation. Listen, inflation means that you can't go 10%. It's not enough anymore. So he took himself over to Kiev to tell, make all these sort of promises of solidarity with Zelensky, and I seen him saying that. Here we go. Biden went to Kiev. Chris Davies, I had you in mind, my friend, when I wrote that headline. So there you go. I'm 100% politically correct, but the thing about this was, I just thought to myself, it's so embarrassing. And I'll tell you what was really embarrassing. I'm sure you saw this, Jed. Let me get this right. The Pentagon or the White House, they contacted the Kremlin and said, listen, the president's coming to Kiev, so just be conscious of that. So that's how they do things, to make sure that nothing bad happens. And then what happened when he arrived? They fired. Yeah, exactly.
That had been one for weeks.
I know, Jed, it was all theater. Oh, look at Mr. Joe Biden. He's so brave. He's defying the air sirens, incoming Russian missiles. No, there wasn't. It was all psyops. It was all absolute psyops for the gullible, especially back in the States, I guess, the Democrats.
It's also back over here for the Giuliani Brewers and LBC and vaccine radio.
So embarrassing to see. And I know that our American friends who follow us here, Jed, I mean, they find Biden as big a monumental embarrassment as we did Boris Johnson, or for that matter, Rishi Sunak. It's the same kind of thing. And by the way, I'll tell you what, Jed, what did you make of, let me get this right, Boris Johnson and Liz Truss both saying that the Royal Air Force should send all of its resources to Ukraine?
Of course. David, they will not be happy until we're sending troops. They will not be happy until NATO are involved and it becomes an all-out war. And I tell you now, I heard something, I think it was yesterday or maybe today. I heard something that there's a stalemate between Ukraine and Russia. Okay. Yet last week, they were telling us that Ukraine was winning.
Yeah, nobody believes that. Yeah.
As he went around the world and begged for more armaments, we were told he was winning. Well, you don't need more armaments if you're winning, because you've got enough to beat them. But he went around begging and he's begging because we know he's losing. And then they went, oh, there's a stalemate, and maybe there should be some negotiations now.
Yeah.
Because the West know they are losing this, and it's never going to end. Russia are not going to give up. And then there was this big mention about Putin's going to do this big speech. And what did he do? Basically, he took the piss out of them.
Yeah.
That's it.
I see Andy over on YouTube says, what Royal Air Force? Well, you're right, Andy, because in fact, Jed, it's, as you would well know, the British Armed Forces in terms of Army, Navy and Air Force have all been massively run down over the past.
They've been gutted from the inside out. They've been gutted by woke governments and by woke generals and so on, who, you know, are more in tune with flying the rainbow flag and worrying about pronouns than they are about creating soldiers who are willing to die and fight for freedom to protect. A soldier doesn't fight for himself. He fights for the people he's protecting, which is, in our case, our country. If he goes over to Iraq and he fights there, it's to protect the innocent people over there.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I didn't go and fight Saddam Hussein twice. The thing I thought about was the families and kids who just get on with life. And when I went over that line of departure into Iraq, and the first thing I saw within what 300-400 meters was a mud brick hut. This was it. It was less than the size of an English car garage for our Americans, strapped to the side of Sunday's Ice. But it was less than that as a house. That was their entire house, and they had probably the size of a medium-sized garden in the UK. And what they were working that land, that was their life. There was a woman there, a guy in the field, and a young child. And I thought to myself, that is why I'm here. I'm not here for weapons of mass destruction. I'm not here because Tony Blair said this, down the other, or whoever it was back in 2000, whatever, when I went on 3 again when I went. I don't care. It's about those people who can't defend themselves. That's what soldiers, airmen and seamen fight for. Those that cannot defend themselves.
Yeah, but I think the bellicose language coming from Boris Johnson and what's his name? What's her name? Liz Truss. Disgraceful. By the way, Andrea Palez. Sorry if I get you. 46 Andrea. And
I'm trying to find it. Right, yeah.
Over on the Getters. My apologies if I got your name wrong. But hey, I'll tell you what then, Jed, just following on from that one, what did you think of, did you see the news conference held by the war criminal Tony Blair and failed Conservative leader William Hague, whereby they were suggesting that if you're going to fight climate change properly, you're going to need a digital ID.
David, it's all about control. It's got nothing to do. I've sent you a couple of videos today. Jeff buys cars.
Yes, excellent.
I think he's called his YouTube channel. He's a brilliant guy. Yes, some of his stuff is about cars, but actually, he's a good guy. And he's just like me, you, and all the folk listening to this, whether you're here at this side of the pond or the other side of the pond, New Zealand, wherever you are. He's just an average guy. And he's brilliant. His analysis of the situation, particularly when it comes to things like net zero. He's done one on digital IDs. He's done one on he does EVs. He does all sorts of stuff. He's a good guy. You want to give him a watch. Jeff Buys Cars, I think he's called, or worse to that effect. I'm sure it's Jeff Buys Cars.
It is
brilliant guy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So like, you know, so they're trying to sort of say, oh, if we're going to save the world, then you're going to need a digital ID. And they're saying, well, if you're going to live in a city or a town, you're going to need you're going to need a pass to get across town because of the 15-minute cities. And that's why I do believe that people say, what's the end game in all of this clown world? And for me, Jed, the end game is a digital ID. because once
that's part of it, David, because the digital ID then goes into the new system they want to introduce, and you look at Sadiq Khan and his ultimate plans, and called C40. He's the chair of the C40. The C40 are 100 city mayors who've gathered together to tackle climate change and congestion, and the ultimate goal is every single person will pay via an app on your phone, being tracked by your phone and facial recognition and digital IDs. You'll be tracked not because you've got a car and you're going into central London and therefore you'll pay a price. You'll be tracked for every journey you do, whether that's in a car, if you can still afford one, or whether it's on a bicycle or horse, or even if you're walking. You will have to pay per mile, because the ultimate goal, and it says in the documents, what's the ultimate goal? Well, the interim goal by 2030 is to reduce the cars, instead of something like 300 in every 10,000 or whatever it is, it's then 160 in every 300 in every 100,000. And they wanted to reduce it by 2030 to 160 in 100,000. But the ultimate goal by 2050 is 0 cars. And this is where you will pay by being tracked by your phone, by GPS, for every journey you make, whether you make it on foot or by a vehicle, you will have to pay per mile.
I think I mean, I put up a couple of videos again on my social media showing people in China, for example, Jed, going to have their lunch at at a canteen or whatever, and facial recognition technology is how they pay, and the facial recognition technology enables them to pay on the basis they've been good little boys and girls. But if they've been naughty boys and girls, then you're not getting any. You're not going to be able to get it. To eat even. So, but it's not just the Chinese. I don't want us to think of the Chinese as if they're just the bad guys, because we're going in exactly the same direction. Oh, here's the channel.
This is a guy, and you can see by the titles he's got. Yeah, this is the one I've just been talking about, where your digital ID will be linked to a fee you have to pay, no matter what method of transportation you use, and it's all in the C40 documentation, which is, like I said, 100 city mayors challenging climate change and the environment for a better future, and it literally is. It's dangerous, David.
No, it is. It absolutely is. Kim Erswell says this nonsense won't make 2030, let alone 2050. Hopefully not, Kim. We pushed back on other fronts. We are pushing back in this front. And I see Reverend Simon Sideways has a video on facial recognition tech being used to access public toilets. Oh yeah, Andy, and as I say, I hope to have Simon on the show actually with me. We're going to have to get Simon on this year with us. And Canadian Mom says Klaus Schwab declared last week that China is a great role model for the world. Yeah, what world though? I mean,
wait till Schwab is in the position where he can say Adolf Hitler was a good role model, because that's where we will end.
Well, I think his father, if I understood rightly, Klaus Schwab's father did have some sort of affiliations to that particular party. We'll not say the word because it probably gets us another strike on it. What channel. But yeah, so China today is the West tomorrow, Andy. I completely agree with you, by the way. That's exactly what we are we are facing. Republican Rocker says concert short sleeve T-shirts were $50. Where's that in China? Or I'm not sure. They're not $50 if you go to our shop, Republican Rocker. If you go to davidvance.net to the shop, you can get your I will not submit, I will not comply T-shirt, sweatshirt for a lot less than $50. So listen, that's the place to go. So look, Jed, I can see we're approaching the end of the hour, and I know you've got something, as you always do, to play us out on. So, oh, hi, Melanie. Thanks for arriving, Melanie. We're just about to go. So I'm sorry. Good to see you, Melanie. And of course, hopefully you'll watch this, as many people do, on playback.
Yeah.
You know, there's stuff we didn't get to talk to tonight about tonight. Didn't get to talk about the great tomato shortage. Oh yeah, huge tomato shortage.
Is that here. Tomato or tomato?
You said tomato, I said tomato. Let's call the whole thing off. So yeah, we didn't get a chat about that. But however, I'm sure if you tune into the podcast channel tomorrow, I suspect you will hear something about that from me. But other than that, yes, look, just as always, folks, thank you so much for being here on the YouTubes, over on the Getters, on the Twitters. Thanks so much for tuning into the show. And I think that's going to be it from me, apart from to remind you that, of course, we have our live stream on Podbean tomorrow. So do make sure you tune into that as well, so you can catch up with us. And indeed, aloha, Donny girl. That is it from me. And Jed, I think you've got a funny to play out on.
I have, mate. So I'll just line this one up. It was something that I mentioned earlier about, you know, there are two genders and we're all one under God type thing. And that under God is what I'm lining up here, if you see what I mean. It's very American, but I think it's absolutely brilliant. So thank you, everybody. Good night.
Yep, folks. Bye-bye.
House.
Now, hold on just a minute, Skittles. I live down here in the South, and we protect ourselves with pit bulls and pew-pews. And the real question is, which one of them is going to get you first? Because I be diddly dad burn. We get up too early, stay up too late, and work too damn hard for our shit to be letting somebody who looks like they tasted the rainbow come in and take our stuff. No, honey. Down here, we just soon send your soul to Jesus and let him sort it out. You know what I mean? This is the way I see it. If you're ever skipping your happy ass down here on the streets in the South and you get this hair up your butt to come into one of our houses, I suggest you do one or two things, baby. You hit your knees and you start praying to the Lord because you fixing to meet him. Or you just keep skipping your happy ass until you get out of town. Now, I personally think the latter of the two choices is the better choice. But bless your heart, you can choose either one you like. Just, baby, choose wisely, okay? Have a nice day.